The XFL Gambling Podcast Week 9 preview picks and DFS episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Shady Rays. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the promo code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. We're also brought to you by our NBA Playoff Survivor Challenge. Yes, we're giving away $250 cash and a $100 gift card. Sign up exclusively today on the SGPN app, which you can download for free in the App Store, Google Play Store. So grab that thing today. And remember, as always, to let it ride.
The XFL. Yes, it is. Do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
Welcome to the XFL Gambling Podcast Week 9 preview and picks episode. Oh, and DFS. I mean, the playoff race is getting closer and closer, and maybe you're just tuning in wondering who the hell you're listening to. Well, my name is Colby, swinging database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
I smoke and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Soundboard is dude. I know you didn't have it on your show. It's insane right now. Like as far as where I don't know where anything is. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Look,
could have fooled me.
We got another great week. In the books. Excited to talk week 9 as the playoff race heats up. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. They call him the man in the box, and he's the kind of guy.
He's the kind of guy that would drink a gallon of gasoline so he could piss in your campfire. You could drop this guy off at the Arctic Circle wearing a pair of bikini underwear without his toothbrush, and tomorrow afternoon he's going to show up at your poolside with $1 million smile and a fistful of pesos.
I give you CJ Sullivan.
You always know where that button is, though. I'll tell you that. DJ
I've been studying
Dundee,
that one. I've been studying that. And someone in Reddit, I didn't even, I couldn't find it myself, but Stacking the Money showed me. He was like, dude, they love that sound drop. Someone put that sound drop up on some Reddit thing. I don't know if maybe Sean said it himself and he showed me it to help my ego.
I did hear you play for Sean one time too, so I feel less special. You kind of just as much as I do. But it's always great to be back here. Week 9. I can't believe it that the season's I'm getting sentimental. This XFL season's is winding down.
There we go. There hasn't been an MVP since Tommy Maddox. We're gonna have a new one.
Tommy got off it.
We are joined by third man in the booth, host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, which I strongly recommend you subscribe to. Give it up. We call him Liquid Lunch.
Yes.
Curious how many drinks he's deep today. Give it up for Justin Mark, aka J Mark. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. Don't mean to let you down. 0 drinks in today.
What are you sipping on right now? You're pulling you're pulling something right now. We got iced tea.
Where the hell are you? I don't see that sweet. I don't see that.
He's on vacation and he's not doing it. Good God. Lord, you're doing vacation wrong.
Justin. I'm in the terrible state of Nebraska for a concert tonight. That's all.
Got it. Hawkeye country.
Brutal.
What concert are you in Nebraska?
Wheelwright.
All right.
Okay. It's all good.
Yeah, there you go.
Excellent musician.
I want to go ahead and guess I'm going to go ahead and guess he's not a rapper.
Not a rapper.
You never know these days.
That's true. That is true. Country rap's a big thing. Shout out to Jelly Roll, Colton Ford.
Shout out to J Mark in the current Econology staying at. We are joined. I'm excited to have this guy on the show. I once did like a 12-hour USFL draft with this guy.
Wow. That was memories right there. That was a day.
He is the editor. He's the guy behind the scenes. You ever go to SGPN, or if you have the SGPN app, or go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy behind the scenes, making sure the stuff looks good. But he loves spring football as much as any of us. Some say maybe even more. I give you Adam Pelletier. How you doing, brother?
Listen, if anyone ever doubts that, I've got my AAF helmet bumper collection to prove my love of spring football that I absconded with from Major League Football training camp.
Yeah. Ship it.
I look, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I heard they could be coming back too. But
there was some I can't say anything. I really can't say anything.
You got AAF rumors?
Yeah, AAF coming.
Break it. Break that news.
I wish I had AAF rumors.
That's what you
Charlie
can break.
Ebersol only just started talking to his dad again. We don't need to destroy the Ebersol family again.
Well,
Adam. So I'm curious. Look, you've been a fan of all these spring leagues, AAFs. I know you watch CFL. Every XFL 2.0, XFL 3.0, USFL. What's your current take on XFL 3.0 9 weeks in?
Current take is they clearly said people don't want to see the run in the ball. They want to see the ball thrown through the air. They went out and got a coaching staff across the board that was going to do that. And we're seeing that they took some chances on coaches like Hines Ward and Rod Woodson and Terrell Buckley, and it is blowing up in their face. And coaching matters in spring football because we're not talking about a high school where you can just pull a guy who is a player. We're not talking about a low-level college. We're talking about guys who have professional aspirations, who have spent time in the NFL. And these head coaches some of these head coaches don't seem like they have the ability to manage the staff egos, the player egos. And it's shown. The teams that are a dumpster fire right now are the teams. The only one that shocked me is St. Louis. I thought Anthony Becht was going to be a dumpster fire on par with Rod Woodson and Hines Ward and Terrell Buckley, but I was wrong. Wrong.
Well, it also helps. I feel like the league is making them. Hey, any close game?
Yeah,
you're getting that win.
Yeah, I think you're dead right about Coach Tony Meatball being being a dumpster fire. The record just doesn't prove it yet because of how crooked this league is.
Here's one of the things I've said forever.
AJ McCarron's calling that offense, though. That is an AJ McCarron offense.
It is. It really is.
Bruce Gradkowski offense.
But one of the things I really believe that you're right with is sometimes you're grabbing names that are, like with Rod Woodson, or some of these Hines Ward, and you see the USFL do that. First off, to me, I get it. You're trying to, that's probably from marketing, but
for sure.
But if you want to have the best product, I really think I can do a long list of NFL coaches struggling in these leagues because like other football coaches like Bart Andrus, or college coaches where your roster changes
Mike
drastically
Riley
every
too.
year. Yeah. Every year your roster is changing so much. You have to learn to coach that, going on constantly 365. Whereas in the NFL, I feel like, you get roster turnover, but it's not gigantic like that. And it's just a little more, I feel like controlled. Your general manager's there.
Yeah.
Like you have all the say in these spring leagues, essentially.
Maybe they wanted coaches that were going to bring a new style, a new an outside the box technique of going at it. Like when Terrell Buckley's down 3, he goes for 1. Kind of. It doesn't make sense on the surface, but if you look deep into it, it doesn't make any sense at all the more you look into it. But
I will say he trusted his defense. He knew he had time. He trusted his defense and he knew he had time. I'm not going to knock Terrell Buckley for that. There's lots of things we could knock him for. But I think the biggest thing you're going to knock him for is his handling of the Dormady situation. But, just to kind of put a pin in this, the XFL said people are going to watch because we have owners and we have coaches. And they forgot no one actually cares who's coaching or who owns the league. We care about the players. And I don't think there's been enough done to get us excited about the players and the talent in the league.
Injury reports too. I mean,
injury reports, consistent news, consistent news.
I'm excited.
And it was the Dormady thing was just the biggest focus and just was emblematic of the issues facing spring and alt football leagues. Is they operate behind this veil of massive secrecy. They have no desire to put things in the public. They have no desire to communicate open and honestly, and they make it difficult for people to get access to information. And then they wonder why no one's watching their product, no one's excited about their product. It's that meme where they're shooting the guy in the chair and saying publicly available information, shooting him dead and saying, why does no one want to watch our league?
Do you think that was mishandling it? Accusing Dormady of
all he said was, I can't believe I'm not playing over these garbage players that they're putting out there, which is what anyone would say.
Yeah, any competitor would say, like, I'm better than this fucking guy. This is nonsense. Terrell Buckley, and
then just taking Francois' word for it and throwing him off the team and calling him a
he's still on the team. I saw him high five him the other game.
It was amazing.
No, you're saying Dormady. Okay.
Yeah, they threw Dormady off, and then they brought him back without saying, it's fine. Apparently, he didn't sell our plays.
Well, look, we're gonna talk it all. We're gonna talk it all. Maybe even try to buy some what if plays that Dormady would sell.
All right.
But before we get to all that, I want to tell you folks out there that the XFL Week 9 preview and picks episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Shady Rays. Yes, kick off the new year with new gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized sunglasses, customizable snow goggles, and much, much more. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that offers a truly world-class product. It's just as good as really any super expensive pair. Yeah, I see right there. Adam's got his Shady Rays on right now. Look at him right there.
Whoa.
If you're watching youtube.com, XFL Gambling Podcast.
Go ahead and break those just to show us.
That's what you can do.
They'll send you another pair. Go ahead.
Exactly. They only got here today, and I'll break the other pair maybe later.
First day, no questions asked. Come on, for the listeners at home.
and that's the best part about it. Look, if you lose or break a pair, even on day one, so he just got them today.
Day one,
right?
break them. Break those.
They will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. So you could just be out there. You could go to your local freeway, put this thing out there on the third lane, and just watch an 18-wheeler run this thing over. Then take a photo of it, send it to them, and they say, "I'm not even going to ask what the hell happened there. It looks like something crazy happened.
Listen,
are you alive?"
That's between you and your Shady Rays.
Sounds like
I don't want to hear the story.
I'll tell you, they want to hear the story. They want to hear the official story.
Unlike Shady Rays, we do ask questions, listeners. So if you put in your review, what happened to you and your sunglasses? We're very, very interested in that seedy story.
So what that means is you could wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back. Seriously, long after your purchase. With Shady Rays, you can also, not only will you look good, you can feel good because to date they've donated over 20 million meals to fight hunger with Feeding America. I mean, what is that? That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I mean, their heart's in the right place, CJ.
Back. What company is that? Just Feeding America? I'm not going to say it's made up, but it does sound. If I was to make up a charity, say what charity give? Feeding America. I give to them. They feed America. They do not, of course. They're a reputable company. I'm not reputable. I
actually just saw a commercial right before this episode for Feeding
America.
Scarlett Johansson was the one.
She should feed them.
So just
good for
there
her.
you go.
It's good for Scar.
Look, so you got to get on this. If you don't love them, you can also exchange for a new pair, return them for free within 30 days. There's really there's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. Their team always has your back. And right now, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out the best deal of the new year. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the promo code SGPN for 50% off 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses. And you can try it for yourself. The shades that are rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. Yes. We're also brought to you by the NBA Survivor Challenge. Yes. Make sure to check out our NBA Playoff Survivor Challenge. It's completely free to enter. And the winner gets $250 in cash and a $100 SGPN gift card. It's exclusively on the SGPN app, which is free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. And like I said in the intro, do that. And remember, as always, to let it ride. All right, we are back here on the XFL Gambling Podcast. Let's just get to the action. We got 4 games on the slate. We got the Vegas Vipers taking on the Houston Roughnecks. This one, so we're doing 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday, and this is going to be interesting because they are going basically toe to toe with the USFL. At least I believe most of these. Yeah, most of these are on ESPN. We're getting the Leno Letterman thing. This is Leno versus Letterman.
This is it. They're going for
what
finally
was
going
that
at
movie? They did a movie on that shit.
They're finally going at it live versus USFL.
Yeah, but USFL, I believe Saturday's on Fox, Sunday morning NBC, and then Sunday night is FS1. Whereas the XFL, I believe ESPN and ESPN2, I believe.
Right.
Yep. And Saturday night we get the direct head-to-head 7:00 XFL kick, 7:30 USFL.
Yeah. This is amazing because I was under the belief that USFL and XFL fans should get along. That there's not room for this kind of fighting, to go to who's better than who's better.
They should be spring football fans.
Right.
Yeah, they should. Football is football. We love football, but it's almost like the DC Marvel thing. It's like great comic books out there, but they get snobby.
But I will say this: after doing this show and listening to you guys talk about how USFL is better, now I'm saying fuck the USFL. But I hope the XFL puts them in their dust.
CJ's going to join the r/XFL on the Colby hate train. Apparently.
Absolutely, I'm it, and I
welcome it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, J Mark, how do you think that will go? I know you're over there in the Econo Lodge. How do you think that'll go this weekend? And you are an avid fan, so I'm curious, how are you going to do your viewing experience? Are you going to say, well, hey, okay, the Vegas Houston game, is that appealing to you as much as, do you have multiple TVs? Are you going to be able to watch it all? Talk to me.
I was going to say, now we don't all have God's eye, but I do have 2 TVs, and that's all I need in order to watch both leagues. So, you guys have probably heard me say it before. I'm just a fan in general of spring football. I'm pro both of these leagues. It will be interesting, though, because I think we've really saw the past couple weeks, XFL viewer numbers have really started to take a step up, especially over Easter weekend. One of the games peaked at like 2 million viewers. That's the highest they've had. So it's going to be interesting to see if USFL really starts to dampen right as they're really starting to rise up.
Here's the thing. If they go on major networks, like I feel like when the XFL has gone on the major networks, I feel like they've actually been a pretty decent number. When it's on FX, or ESPN2, I feel like that number, some packages don't even have ESPN2, believe it or not. There's some packages out there that do not actually have ESPN2.
FX hurts, and then when they stream, but when they go ABC and Mothership, and they're not going against March Madness and shit like that.
Yeah. I think, the Masters. Yeah.
I think they're building up pretty well.
Yeah, no, I do too. But it's going to be curious because I think the USFL, with having a lot of these games on Fox and NBC, has a little bit of an edge there, as opposed to the XFL with sometimes
getting
the
a lot
ABC
easier to find everything in the USFL. They've got the times consistent. They've got the channels consistent.
Yeah.
Everything's linear. There's no streaming only games, but everything is available on streaming. But again, it's going to be interesting. Let's see.
But I also kind of like that about the XFL. It just pops up on a Saturday like a Baywatch episode or something. Like you don't know how it got there, what time it is, but you're watching it. It's on.
Where are you getting these Baywatch episodes? I'm trying to go back on.
That's no joke. You never know when it's on, but you never miss it. Baywatch.
Oh man, Adam, what's your TV setup like? How you gonna be trying to do?
There's going to be whichever game is closer and more exciting is going to be on the big screen with the sound. Whichever game is less exciting will be off to the side without sound.
There we go.
We'll have the 2 TVs set up without.
Well said.
And the fantasy scores on the laptop in front.
There we go. There we go. All right. Well, look, first game. Let's get to capping these things. Vegas heading to Houston. The Roughnecks. Are we sure? Is Silver's starting, right? Long John Silver's. Is he getting that start?
As of now, there's no one on the Houston injury report, whereas Vegas appears to be down Martavis Bryant at wide receiver, Antonio Phillips, defensive back, and Donovan West on the offensive line. Jeff Pedette was limited yesterday in practice, as was Matthew Sexton. So getting some weapons back for Vegas.
Now, where
That
do you
could
find
be-
this injury report? Is this on the dark web? I can never. This is amazing.
This is direct from my XFL sources.
I
so.
love it. I love finally having an
transparency. We got
love finally having an injury report insider on here. Not that J Mark didn't come up with it, but he has that.
J-Mark-
he has here.
J Mark wants to hustle and grind like I do to get the insider access.
Yes.
He has to be reminded to do things like subscribe to email lists and attend press conferences.
Hey, that's tough.
But like I said last time, for a league that leans into gambling so much, you'd think they would make this information fucking public and not tell me AJ McCarron's not going to play 5 minutes before kickoff.
That blew everybody's mind.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, especially because like I feel like we're all traveling and shit. You got like if you give us like 2 hours, I feel like we could even get that done.
Right.
But right before the kickoff, it's absolutely brutal. Damas says didn't even know the XFL had injury reports.
They do. They don't release them usually. They're usually shared by other reporters. Markcast on Twitter is usually a good one, and inactives are announced about an hour and a half before each game on the XFL.
Why do they do that though? I don't understand. What's the advantage there?
There is no advantage.
Suspense.
Because it's you're sending me down a rabbit hole at this point, but it's basically ESPN and the XFL can't see the value in having like functioning coverage and investing a little bit on the front end to make money on the back end. Whereas the USFL is very clearly put out an aggressive social push. And I think they're going to be better about their injury reports this year because they saw that frustration last year. The XFL just hasn't seemed to care at all. And I'm not exactly sure what their strategy or approach is with that.
Interesting. All right, guys. Well, look, Vegas is catching 6.5 in Houston. The total right now is 43.5. Vegas is 210 on the money line. I mean, is this too easy?
Yeah, but this is.
I feel like
I'm not
Houston,
even thinking about it. If I lose this, I lose
shit
this.
Last week on offense.
Yeah, if you
Houston's
lose this, you
looked
lose
like
this.
shit since John Trey Kirkland got hurt. John Trey Kirkland went out, and Houston has just been dysfunctional. They don't have a receiver to dominate that game plan. They don't have a receiver who will just take away everything the defense is doing.
They also were fortunate to get 2 games against Orlando when they were starting Paxton Lynch.
That's right.
Yeah,
I feel like that always helps. That always helps. Normandy was under investigation. All right, they couldn't free storm at Normandy Beach. I mean, this is I'm actually thinking of the money line here, plus 210.
6.5 is an auto play.
6.5 is the play.
Vegas plus the points, obviously.
But I feel like it's a little too obvious, right?
I don't get it.
Adam, you're on Vegas, right?
I don't even get this
I'm
line,
on Vegas.
to be honest with you.
I'm on Vegas 6.5. But I gotta go Houston money line just because I think Houston is a better coach team. They've looked like a better, more functioning team, although the offense hasn't been clicking at the high level that they were. They're still a functioning offense where Vegas can very quickly look like a non-functioning offense.
Yeah, Vegas is a mystery. They're like it's a gamble every time.
They've been playing kind of well. They should have won. They should have won last week, obviously.
Yeah,
I mean they've been playing great, and Houston just locked up the playoffs last week as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
and you got to wonder if they're like the DC and Houston are in this spot where
this is a week 3
they could
line,
be benching players.
Like this is like a week 3 line. Houston should be laying 6.5 to anyone right now.
Yeah, I agree.
And especially a Vegas team. And Vegas team looked a lot freer now that they've been eliminated as well. They're doing double reverse fake field goals for no reason at all right before the half. Right before half. I mean, they don't care.
J Mark, what are you going to go contrarian here? What are you doing?
No, I'm on Vegas as well. Houston just hasn't looked good enough, especially recently, and Vegas has nothing to lose. So they're going out there. They're playing for next year. They're trying to get jobs. These guys are trying to get jobs for next year. So,
and that kick, by the way, 9:30 a.m. on the West, noon 30 on the East. Yeah. So we're all. What about over under here? 43.5, guys. I tend to think over.
Yeah, you'd want to, but I don't know. It's yeah. I kind of lean under if I had to do it. It's kind of a high number. I didn't think the number was gonna be that high, just because Houston has just not looked good on offense. You know what I mean?
True.
If anything, I'm worried about Houston, which is the 6.5 point favorite. You know,
I think they could probably both get to the 20s
for sure. They can.
I think Houston has a get right game in them here against the weaker Vegas defense. And really 43.5. Okay, so what is that? A 24-21 game? It could get there real quick, real easy.
Yeah.
And Jalen McClendon had a down week last week. He looked really good the week before. This could be a big week for him, especially with his receivers getting back healthy. I wonder if missing Jeff Badet and Matthew Sexton didn't really hurt that Vipers offense.
Sure.
True.
For sure.
True. All right. Well, look, now let's jump on over to San Antonio. We're staying in Texas. The Texas two-step going on Saturday.
Yes.
In the XFL here, the Guardians, Terrell Buckley. You might only have 10 on the field and a lot of plays, but the offense can fly, baby. All right. The Guardians are catching 1.5 in the Alamo Dome. What's going on in the quarterback? Oh, are we going to see Paxton Lynch start his first game? Do we know that?
I think so. We don't know it, but I think
I need the injury report because DFS has them out, but they're a week late. I need our insider here.
No one's listed for San Antonio. It's just offensive lineman Maya Tahuma, cornerback Terrell Bonds, and defensive end Mike Tverdov. And they were all DNPs yesterday. And Cody Latimer, DNP for Orlando on Tuesday.
Whoa! I can tell you this though:
big DFS.
San Antonio's offensive line, awful. And if one guy's already dinged up,
I think the line should actually be San Antonio plus 1.5 quarterbacks played this game due to.
Yeah, I'm all over the Guardians. Get right spot here in the Alamo Dome. I know, people will call out the fact that Storm and Dorman, he came back down to earth.
He threw for 300 yards.
Yeah.
Last week.
He got fucked up a little bit last week.
He did. I mean, he turned it over a lot, of course. Do those injury reports, by the way, is it similar? Is it the same thing as the NFL of questionable, doubtful levels, or do they have like walk it off level? They take an injection, shut up level.
No, it's out, doubtful, questionable are the indicators.
Okay, out and doubtful. That's hilarious. So this is a matchup between our 150-1 shot we gave out Orlando, which was about to come in if they didn't mess up, if Buckley doesn't do his shenanigans, to our new pick, our 50-1 Brahmas, who came in where it's convicted.
That's the thing. The Brahmas got to win this game.
Right.
Man, I felt so much better when knowing that Benkert was going to be back there. I actually thought they had found a guy that was.
You got excited about Kurt Benkert?
Not
like how. What
for them
hurt you in a past life to get excited about
Jack Cohn?
Like
Jack Cohn. In a past life of watching Wisconsin football for 5 fucking years.
Listen, I
heard for 3
I heard
with
from
the
some
line.
guys. They got calls. I know quarterbacks who got calls from San Antonio after Benkert got hurt, and the fact that they just said, "Now we'll go with Paxton Lynch and Jack Cohn some more," should just really disappoint everybody because they had the quarterbacks weren't necessarily going to be big household names, but they were going to be more interesting guys.
Yeah.
I'm still confused on how Paxton Lynch ended up on the roster. Like that was one where he was like,
I know
like,
these shady trades and claims.
What happened
I mean,
there? Like he's definitely better than Francois. I would think they would cut Francois, but Lynch gets the cut. What? Doesn't make any sense. But having said that, I'm on the Guardians plus 1.5. The over-under's at 39.5. The Guardians are plus 100 on the money line. So, but
yeah, I'll take Orlando. I'll take the 1.5. I'll take the money line. I mean, just because I'm not getting off the Stormity just because of last week's hiccup. Even though maybe they need a little.
Maybe they need to get him on like figure out how to get him on Arlington.
You know what got him after? I mean, obviously it was a letdown after the DC game, but then. Now that the playoffs are completely taken off the table, maybe they can run a clear mind. Maybe they'll clear Terrell Buckley's mind. Terrell Buckley is the only reason why I'm not hammering Orlando because this guy, he's an absolute disaster.
What if Dormandy all of a sudden gets cut and he ends up on Houston going to the
mid-game?
Playoffs?
Can they do that mid-game? Who knows? I mean, that's basically how these trades work. I kind of like
only if he comes out of the tunnel with a steel chair and climbs into the roof. That's the only time. That's the only way we're going to allow that to happen.
Why don't you try this jersey on for the second half of the game?
See how you look.
Yeah, all right.
Adam, what are you doing here in the Alamo Dome?
In the Alamo Dome, gotta take Orlando in the points. That's just feels like free money, and on the money line, and taking the over 39. I know San Antonio's been good defensively, but I think the Orlando offense has just been moving the ball too well. Quentin Dormady, like you said, does look really good, and if Cody Latimer doesn't get play, I might have to flip to the under.
Well, I was about to say, this was the over under that I hesitated on because San Antonio scores like 7 points a game.
I know.
And
So I was
San
like,
Antonio holds its opponents. San Antonio hasn't allowed anybody to score more than like 25 points this year.
I think we
The
got to go
defense has
under.
been good.
I think we got to go under just because. But Orlando's doesn't have a great defense either.
No, they don't.
If Paxton Lynch is, and it's a revenge game. This is what's hilarious. Paxton
Everyone
Lynch
Orlando
got
Do you
plays
really
is
want the
revenge.
Paxton Lynch revenge spot, though?
But
playoff spot on the line.
But-
Paxton Lynch is from San Antonio.
yes, but we talked about this a couple weeks ago when they let San Antonio get Paxton Lynch, or that was Orlando foreseeing the future. Oh, we're gonna play him in 2 weeks. Let's get him over there, so we can get ourselves a W.
Yeah.
If anything, they should just move Paxton Lynch around to all their opponents. And just trade him if we can. Get him to St. Louis next week.
Wait, but isn't he going to be giving out the plays?
he doesn't?
He
even know.
might.
They never even told.
He's got to be
Right.
giving out the plays. He's like Dormady. He's been practice with Dormady a week ago.
Yeah,
Suspend him. Suspend him.
I love
J Mark, what are you doing here at the Alamo Dome?
I mean, I'm hesitant for all of us to be on the same side again, but I think you have to go with the Guardians, and I
Yes.
like the under in this one.
it. Okay,
Yeah, CJ, you like the under?
that's a real tough one to be honest.
I thought it was the hardest over under.
Yeah, that's a real
Yeah.
tough total.
That's just
but-
such a low number.
Yeah.
So it's a
Like-
low number, but it's San Antonio. I mean,
Yeah,
my
but you also feel
God.
like Orlando could hit that on their own if Dormady has a good game.
True. Dormady, I mean, they put up
Dormady
30
has a
multiple
40
times,
he has
right?
a 40
Yeah.
burger in him again.
Okay, that's fine now.
Sold,
That's
right?
Sure. Let's take the over and hope Dormady drops 40. Because San Antonio had 6 last week with 3 minutes to go before that awful pick interception. I
Dude,
mean,
watching Jack Cohn,
I know.
can we just say out of all the spring leagues we've watched, and we've watched a lot of spring league football.
Mhm.
I mean, shit, I've been watching the CFL since the 80s. I can't. Jack Cohn's the worst quarterback we've ever seen in spring league.
No, Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel, hands down, was the
At least he had
worst.
mobility.
That
He would-
one game Memphis Johnny Manziel experiment was the worst spring football quarterbacking I have ever seen. And
Singletary was
I have
his coach.
degenerately
It was
watched
bad.
way too many of these games.
All
Johnny
right.
Manziel was hands down the worst.
I like that.
Okay, Cohn's got to be right
Or
there.
that Matt McGloin game in New York when he got benched at halftime and tried to blame his coaches in the XFL too. That was also
Well,
down
what's
there.
what's hilarious though about Cohn is like, whatever they do, they can't replace him.
I mean, I think the thing with Cone is like we saw what he could be in week 1, and he wasn't bad in week 1, but the line just got decimated. I honestly don't know if Jack Cohn is a bad spring quarterback. He could be Brandon's.
buddy.
No, he could be Brandon Silvers, but everyone behind that San Antonio line has gotten hurt except Jack Cohn. So he clearly has some sort of ability that they keep going back to him and haven't just brought somebody in, unless they're just trying to break him and get him out of their hair forever.
Let me tell you, I've watched a lot of Jack Cohn. He is the check down god. All right, check down god, zero athleticism. I am amazed that he hasn't gotten injured though. I'll give him that. He's durable.
Yeah, that's what I want.
All right, look, we're gonna get over and talk Sunday's action. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the XFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy is a great place to get down on fantasy and player props all year long. Underdog Fantasy has your favorite NHL, MLB, NBA daily games. They do offer XFL and USFL. Plus, they're already doing best ball drafts for the 2023 NFL season. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. Sunday, 9 a.m.
Whew.
Luis Perez going to DC, right? Luis Perez, yeah, he's now on Arlington. Just in case you tuned out for a couple weeks, he was really good with Vegas for a couple weeks, and then he's on Arlington somehow. The Renegades
They benched him for Brett Hundley, only to replace Hundley with Jalen McClellan.
Yep.
Congratulations, Brett Hundley. You couldn't even hold the job over a guy who couldn't start at Louisville.
It started with the Byron
Well
Scott
done.
disrespect.
NC State. It was NC State.
NC State, whatever.
Yeah,
some crappy red jerseyed college team. What's the difference? NC State, Louisville, Maryland, they're all the same.
The Defenders are laying 8.5. The over-under's at 41.5. The Arlington Renegades plus 320 on the money line. Look,
yes.
I mean, theoretically here, Arlington has something to play for. DC doesn't. So it's a juicy 320 if we want to get down on that. Arlington defense has been decent. DC, I wonder, you saw Tamu take a lot of shots. You saw Abram Smith got dinged up. I wonder if, because I think DC already clinched home field too, because they have the tiebreakers on both Seattle and St. Louis. So if there's any team, say Houston, I think theoretically Houston could still not get home field. I think DC's got it. So if there was a team that would to lay off the gas, it would be DC, correct?
Well, I think they can still lose home field.
Yeah, if they lose out in St. Louis,
if they lose both games, right? Because they will give them 3 losses if they lose out.
And I don't think you're going to see any teams really take their foot off the gas here because there's no value for a player to take your foot off the gas and kind of coast. And as a coach, you want to make sure that your guys are locked in because they could get knocked down, they could cede home field, and they don't want to go into St. Louis and have to play the Battlehawks with 50,000 fans packing the dome for a home championship game. So if you're DC, you have to show up and show out every game to make it clear we are the best team in the North Division, and our record proves it, and we've beaten St. Louis. We need to make that clear so that way, if like CJ claims, there's a little bit of, thumb on the scale for St. Louis there, that the XFL can't just counterbalance that.
Well, you said DC doesn't want to play in St. Louis, but you know who wants them to play in St. Louis? The XFL with all those fans. This is where the rigging is going to come in.
This is
why I think
league is rigged, DC's losing this game.
I think DC is going to put their foot up Arlington in this one because DC is going to show we deserve this home game. We are the best team in this league right now, and I think they are. I think they are hands down the best team.
Definitely.
This is a classic confrontation between Jay.
Hold on, just keep talking because we're getting a live update of the DC Defenders injury report.
All right, I was just going to say,
here's my thing. I think Adam makes a great point because if you're trying to play for, obviously these guys are looking to get an opportunity in the NFL, so you want to leave all out there on the tape, but at the same time, if you're Reggie Barlow, like one of the things that I would probably try to do in the next 2 games is get De'Aaron King more reps, right? Because if Tamu gets knocked, one thing we've seen from De'Aaron King is he hasn't thrown the ball a lot this season.
But especially if J Mark says that comes from up top. Like, listen, it doesn't matter what deserves. If the script says you're losing, you're losing. Okay, listen, it's Andre the Giant. You're going down. You're going down. Okay, I'm sorry. There's nothing we can do from here. I don't care what the fans think.
Another thing is like Raquel Armstead. I feel like would make sense a little bit to get more carries.
Absolutely.
But I mean, because I feel like both are good running backs, but Smith's better. But I just feel like maybe you could play both, but still, you're not completely sitting out. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch, but I'm on the points, guys.
Yeah, I'm taking
the points with Arlington in the 8.5. Arlington's showing some signs of life on offense. Luis Perez is easily the best quarterback they've had. So they've showed some signs of life on offense. I don't want to say they're a prolific offensive team by any means, but they're showing some signs. The defense is actually pretty good.
DC Arlington isn't a prolific team offensively.
So, compared to DC, is that what you said?
Yeah, DC is on fire right now offensively.
Yeah.
5 of their last 6, over 30 points. So,
and Adam, when we started, I know you were listening to us, but J Mark was a strong hater on Jordan Tamu. I was curious your reaction to those statements coming into the season.
I think Jordan Tamu probably heard that and put J Mark's statements up on his locker and has made it his goal to prove him wrong. I mean, there were reasons to doubt Jordan Tamu coming into the season because last year he put up a lot of his yardage and a lot of his work in garbage time for a bad Bandits team. And the question was could he produce like he did in the XFL 2? And he really has turned into that guy despite not having the weapons he had in St. Louis. His completion percentage is down, but he's thrown the ball more. He's been much more accurate right now. It's been fantastic. It's been great to see him really take that step in that evolution. And I really hope an NFL team will give him the right shot. Like I was talking to a friend the other day. I said, I would much rather have Jordan Ta'amu, who's the Buffalo Bills backup, than Kyle Allen. I want a guy who it's like, I can put him in the game and I don't know what I'm going to get, but I don't want to be bored with Kyle Allen. If Josh Allen goes out, it's like, we're screwed anyways. Why don't we have fun?
Interesting. So you're laying the 8.5 then, right?
I kept looking at that number and it felt too big, but this Arlington team has been an absolute dumpster fire this year. They don't win games. They can't score points. And
watch what you say though, because there's a decent shot they're going to be playing in the Extreme Cup.
West champion, South champion.
I just feel like they're playing better than Houston right now.
I think they're going to beat Houston. I think they're going to be in a championship.
The North Division game is the XFL championship game, and I feel bad for the fans in San Antonio.
Depends what the writers come up with.
It does depend what the writers come up with. But if DC or St. Louis or Seattle lose to one of these South teams, it's gonna do a lot to destroy the legitimacy of this league, and that would be where I'd leave it.
Wow. All right. Destroyed.
So you're
an upset with destroyed
the 8.5. J Mark, what are you doing here in DC?
I'm riding with Arlington and the points.
He said money line, you said earlier, J Mark, right?
I don't mind
if you believe the script.
Yeah.
If you believe that this is scripted, then XFL wants all those fans in St. Louis for the playoff game. So yeah, Arlington money line.
Plus 320? Hey,
it's worth a shot.
I'm on board. Let's go.
I mean, it's worth a shot just because with DC, and also DC, I know DC does have to come through, and DC probably will win the game. But they had a huge game of the year last week out in Seattle. You know, they proved that then they can take the guess off, but it's going to be kind of a letdown. And
just throw $50 on plus 350.
Sprinkle a little money line. I'm taking the 8.5. I tell you what, I love the over 41.5 though. DC's offense is on fire, but also their pass defense has been terrible the last few games. A lot of times when people are down, and I love Perez. That's not the same offense with Perez out there.
Another thing is,
all you need is them to get 15, 20. That thing's going to go way over.
Another thing is they blitz so aggressively. Right. So when they do hit on that high turnover rate, you see the pick sixes, the fumble returns. I feel like this DC defense, although does give up a lot of yards, they also make a lot of fucking plays.
I know you want. I know you defend your man.
Yeah, Greg Williams, greatest American in that we have going
in the history of America. Him and Reno Hightower.
If we had to send someone to another planet to say, "Hey, this is the best we got,"
yes. We're sending Greg Williams.
Greg Williams is there, in my opinion. So total wise,
long as he's not the head coach, I'm good with it.
Yes.
I'm still my childhood was traumatized by Greg Williams as a head coach.
Yeah.
That was a tough era. What are you doing totals wise, Adam, in that game?
Oh, smash the over. That's going to be that's DC just putting up big numbers there. And nobody on the injury report really for the defenders. Josh Hammond is banged up. Raquel Armstead was banged up a little bit. Jaquez Hazard was banged up, and some defensive players, but no one was out or a DNP, just all limited. Whereas over on Arlington, missing 3 linebackers with DNPs today, a DB, and Caleb Van Der Esch also a DNP today. So Arlington dealing with some injuries. Eric Dungy also on the injury report for the DC Defenders in news nobody cares about and has no influence over anything. Just got to shout out Syracuse grad Eric Dungy there.
Oh, yes. There you go. J Mark, what are you doing for the total?
Yeah, I also like the over. That's bad that Arlington is missing some linebackers since they traded away their reserve for Luis Perez.
Every player in the XFL tries to do to make the teams better somehow. We're depleted that linebacker. We're going to really use that backup.
And we mocked them. We mocked them for trading a linebacker that never played for a top 3 quarterback.
No,
it's funny though. I actually spent yesterday reading an article on the NFL draft, how the linebackers basically became, with the evolution of the sport, they've kind of become like not really valuable. They're kind of like the running back of defense. Out? Yeah, they're like the running back of defense. So you never see them go like top 10. And a lot of the players that they thought would go top 10, 2-3 years ago that ended up going for late first round, second round. So it's interesting to see the evolution of the sport.
Don't tell that to J Mark's Chicago Bears though, who decided to invest heavily in a middle linebacker after trading away a linebacker.
We got 2 decent, serviceable linebackers for the same price as Roquan. Don't get me started.
I will say,
it was a brilliant move.
Upgrading on Roquan Smith to Tremaine Edmonds and getting draft capital back was a brilliant move. That was a stroke of pace, stroke of brilliant from Pace there. You know why? Because he's a upstate New York boy. That's why.
There you go. Had to flex that.
Canandaigua Academy grad right there. We know who our people are.
There we go. All right, guys. Nightcap, best game of the weekend for the XFL by far. I feel like anyone want to argue me on that? Let's go.
Biggest, most implications. It's a playoff. It's a playoff game.
Yeah. The Sea Dragons of Seattle heading into the Battle Dome, Kaka, as they say. St. Louis is laying 1. You know, I want to hammer Seattle all day. I feel like they're so much of a better football team, but this league is not going to let the Battlehawks lose. All right. Just in general, The Rock's last film bombed. So, you know, I feel like if he's going to do his next project, the whole city of St. Louis is going to go out and see it once he gets the Battlehawks into the playoffs. Look, I have a future on Seattle. I don't have a future on St. Louis.
J Mark's got us there.
But I understand how this works. CJ, talk me into why I should take Seattle.
I mean, the normal handicapping, it's a revenge game. It's the Danuch. It's June Jones. They're got offense. St. Louis. We question marks under AJ McCarron.
Yeah,
they're yanking him out of the lineup 5 minutes before the game.
We don't even know if he's going to play.
I mean, my God, they
no injury update published for Battlehawks or Dragons yet either.
Come on, guys.
If I had something, I'd give it to you. But it's
the biggest game of the weekend.
Right?
Give us this one. Who cares about the Orlando game?
Updates.
I will say this.
From this
At least they showed us the play where it got hurt. It was the third quarter of the game before. He did get slammed hard on that shoulder. So if he does play, I don't mean. Can he be possibly be 100%? Then you got the Nooch, you know, well, we know everybody eats
Seattle's
with the
a
Nooch.
much better team. I honestly feel like they're a much better football team.
Yeah.
But you got the momentum of this crowd.
I know.
Who they'll label as a sellout.
You know, like, I can see them in for your defense. I can see them running the script, a funnier wrestling script. There would be Seattle to win this game in St. Louis, and then have them drop next week, and then St. Louis beat Orlando at home, and then they're back their way in that way.
And Connor in the chat says, "I'm interested to hear your guys' opinion on cashing out a Sea Dragons future. I can't believe how good their odds are still to take it all. So many things need to happen for them to make the playoffs. They need to. I mean, come on, guys. Is this a crazy idea? If they're doing all this other thing where they're throwing quarterbacks on other teams, put all 3 in the fucking playoffs.
I know. God
forbid.
Let's get a last minute rule adjustment where your team has to be over 500 to make the playoffs. And let's put the 4 seed up against, or let's put the 3 seed up against the 1 seed from the South. Just call it a day. Call it a day.
Because you're hurting. Like the best games that we want to see, like I want to see a Seattle DC rematch.
I don't want to see Arlington play another down of football.
I don't want to see Arlington, Houston, or San. The only team I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that stadium host another down of football. I don't want to see any of those Texas stadiums host another down of football outside of San Antonio. It's awful to watch.
So Adam, I have a future on Seattle. I really want them to win this game. I really think they're a lot better than St. Louis, but I'm taking St. Louis. Am I a maniac for this?
Yes, because all the perks that St. Louis should have about playing in a dome, they don't have anything to do that with. They don't have a strong, dominant run game. They don't have a sling it passing attack. They're best when they're in hurry up, and McCarron's calling the offense because Bruce Kadkowski doesn't seem to have a handle on how to call this offense. They seem their best when it's AJ McCarron making adjustments, making calls. So the fact that they won last week with Tiano is a miracle. Or 2 weeks ago, the fact that they won last week with Tiano is a miracle. And they don't have a defense. Their defense is soft.
Their run defense is so bad, but Seattle doesn't run.
But Seattle's got weapons all over the field. I know what you're thinking about this script, but I think Seattle's just too good. and I think they're going to blow St. Louis out of the water
Wow.
if McCarron doesn't play. And I'd hold that Seattle ticket and I'd probably roll with them in this game even because it's honestly better TV if next weekend's games are up for it. Yeah.
Sure.
Notice how Justin and I are just left conveniently out of that.
Right? I would also like some coffee.
I mean, how can
Yeah,
I say
I said
no to
I
that?
wanted coffee too,
Yeah.
Justin. But anyways, like if you go into week 10 and none of these games
Really going
matter
global with this show.
for anything, I think that's a bad look for the league. So Seattle winning this week is actually better for the XFL. Because then next week you have 2 games that matter. You have Orlando with a chance to play spoiler, and you have Vegas with a chance to play spoiler. So 2 games that matter for a team to live or die in the playoffs. That's the script right there. St. Louis is shorthanded this week, more than likely, if we think McCarron's not going to play.
By the way, did we figure out the tiebreaker if they do tie for next week?
I think they're tied on everything. I think it would be down to a coin flip.
Well, yes.
The tiebreakers go deep.
Well,
the tiebreakers go deep.
Coin flip,
what
baby.
could possibly be corrupt about a WWE
So head to head.
Let me guess.
Hold on.
Behind closed doors. Behind closed doors.
Head to head. If Seattle wins, they split.
Okay.
Best win-loss percentage in division games.
That's tied.
That's tied.
What about points? But they don't look at points.
Not when there's coins. Not when there's coins to flip.
Third is strength of victory in all games. So combined record of opponents in wins. So who would they beat there? And I think that's where they might see some differential. I haven't looked at it. Fourth is best combined record ranking among division teams in points scored and points allowed. So if you're first in points scored and third in points against, that's 4. Second and second would be 4. You'd be tied there. So there could be some flex there. Best combined ranking among all teams in points scored and points allowed in all games. Best net points in all games. Best net touchdowns in all games.
Oh my God.
And then number 8.
What if you're making field goals and winning? Yeah.
The coin toss.
I prefer the coin toss over half of those fucking statistics. Jesus. Why don't you just
I'm
pick
sorry,
a USFL
CJ.
game
I didn't know you wanted to just give everybody a participation trophy.
Participation.
You didn't want anybody to advance. You didn't want anybody to advance on their merits. You wanted a coin toss. You wanted a coin toss.
It's called gambling. I don't know if you know what this network's all
about. Socialism to me.
Why don't you read the second word of the show?
That sounds like socialism, CJ. Not rewarding a team on its merits.
Well, look,
just
if
giving
it's
everybody a trophy.
If
it's going to say they should play all the games in domes.
If it's not behind closed doors,
all right.
The coin flip can get interesting.
Yeah, it's a gamble, and if you're wrong, you lose.
Really
How is that a participation?
I want that as a televised event.
Fuck it, make it a duel while you're at it.
30-minute show. All right, lead up to that. Give me the backstory on the heads, backstory on the tails.
Can we do it Friday Night Lights style, where they meet at some random truck stop in the middle of Texas, and everyone in the truck stop's just like, "What the hell's going on?"
That's definitely what would happen.
Underrated movie scene.
I you know what, you made me switch back to Seattle. I'm going with the Sea Dragons. I got the future on them. June Jones has been on the show.
Benedict Dant is back.
J Mark, what are you doing here?
That was pretty weak of you there, Cole, but I love it.
So
management comes in and he loses his backbone.
I'm a little concerned. A little concerned about Philip Lindsay against this Battlehawks run defense, because to answer Damas's question here, I thought he looked good. I thought he looked like the same guy that played for the Broncos, that ran hard, runs hard every play. But I also agree with Damas. Follow the script. Take the Hawks. Battlehawks are winning this one.
Oh, man.
He's got the future. I mean, I feel like that future. You're going to win it all, I think. They're going to win it all.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like we're all fools.
We should have known that week 1 when they got the 15-point comeback bullshit. Going. I mean, that's how they opened up. That was a great pilot episode.
The first time I realized CJ had no idea what he was talking about, complaining about the rules and having exciting football in television. Oh, the rules are terrible. They're
take
gimmicky.
That personally. That's the first time you found out. That's the first time you found out I didn't know what I was talking about. That's ridiculous. Then now I know you're not listening.
CJ, you've been the only one to come up organically on my Facebook feed. So well done with the self-promotion, sir.
Oh, man.
No one else hustles like CJ Sullivan.
That's my manager, algorithm.
We would have people fetching us coffee, Colby, if you hustled like CJ hustled.
What about the over under on 46, guys? That's a gigantic number.
Right.
Smash the over.
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta go over with that as well. I mean,
If
well,
McCarron's doesn't play, I think you got to go under, right?
Well, if I still don't
no.
care.
Because
give me
June
Seattle.
Jones is going to want to put up 40 points in that game. June Jones wants a statement game. Ben DiNucci will want a statement game, and he'll want to prove. I mean, as much as the home field crowd is great, but how great is it to go into a hostile environment like that and just dismantle the home team? There's nothing better. Nothing better.
Yeah, I completely agree. Connor says tiebreaker is tied until points versus points against the within their division. He's made an Excel sheet.
Yes.
He's a nerd.
You're not a nerd, Connor.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
a hustler.
We
You're a
appreciate
grinder.
you.
You're a
Yes.
D-gen. We love you, Connor.
Shout
We
out to
love
Connor.
ya.
Doing more work than the XFL is. At least he's transparency. Get that Excel sheet out there.
All right, let's get the DFS boys. Let's do this. All right. Quarterback. See, I think quarterback's an interesting spot for this week because once
Colby,
again, if you
before you start, don't copy my lineup this time, okay?
yeah, exactly, right? You
So
you
were we
prick
all?
bastard,
Oh no,
right?
J Mark's on St. Louis. I was gonna say,
Guys, I'm going with this. I'm going with McClendon. I think this guy. Didn't he rush for like 70 yards last week?
Benedict does not stop with this
Playing
guy.
Houston. He's playing Houston.
Fire up the tape of you talking about McClendon when he gave him the start a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he sucked. He's an NC State guy, and I hate NC State. Wearing my ECU shirt.
Yeah.
But he did leave NC State.
He went to Baylor.
He did not
didn't he?
graduate. Yeah, he graduated from Baylor.
Okay, thanks.
So he realized he was being a piece of shit by being at that university.
But you learn street smarts at Baylor, how to cover up murders, how to do a lot of things.
Yeah, wasn't Ken
get you ready
Starr
for the
their fucking
XFL.
president?
Yeah, I mean,
so that they did. He learned some things.
I like this.
At
I like this.
9,400. What are you doing at quarterback?
I like McClendon. He's at 9,400.
Yeah, 9,400.
I didn't take him, but I like it. I mean, I like McClendon. He's been looking great. Although they are playing, who are they playing? Houston, right?
Yeah, but the Houston defense wasn't great last week. They gave up a ton of yards.
I agree.
Somehow won.
I agree. I'm going with our guy Perez at 8,600. Arlington in DC, like we said, we expect a lot of points in that game. DC's pass defense has been bad. It's because they have to keep up. So at 8,600, Luis Perez, I think this is a show out game for Arlington.
Oh, I like it. I like it. So J Mark, what are you doing here at the quarterback position?
I guess CJ got my lineup this week. I got Perez as well. I believe it or not, as much as I've
I was just going to say, I didn't think I was against your religion. I thought I was against your religion of Byron Scott.
You know what, Brian Scott? You know why you like him? He's not on Vegas anymore.
Right.
He left Vegas.
Right.
And
Now he's spread around. Now he's getting happy
I don't
Easter
know.
text from
I'm
Brian
gonna have
Scott.
to call Brian Scott here, Justin, and
gee.
tell him that you turned Benedict Dant on us.
Yeah,
and went with Luis Perez.
Yeah, did you reply to his happy Easter text with "I'm going with Perez on my DFS"?
Yeah.
I should have.
Did you
Yeah,
reply
should've.
after that saying, he taught himself how to play quarterback on
Yeah.
YouTube?
Speaking of Passover, I pass you over to go to the Canadian Football League.
Adam, what are you doing at quarterback, man?
I got to go Ben DiNucci. I'm all in on the Seattle offense in a must-win game. And Connor in the chat actually brought up a good point. June Jones will know the tiebreakers. June Jones will know they got to score a ton of points.
That is true.
To get up on the leverage. So I'm steering into Ben DiNucci throwing for 400 yards.
I like
chasing that XFL record, wants to
That's
be an
a good point.
I like that,
record
Connor.
holder.
I like
Give me
good call,
DiNucci.
Tommy
Connor.
Maddox 2.0.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go. You
DiNucci.
make a lot of sense.
How much is
You
DiNucci?
make a
Was he
lot
like
of
12
sense
something,
there.
right? I mean, he's worth it. I like it. How much was DiNucci this week?
He's 12 too, so you're
All right.
paying a premium there. But when
You
you
get
know
a
the
DiNucci.
XFL like we do, you can find the value on that.
Yes.
All right, let's switch over to running back, guys. I feel like we're all going to roster this guy, knowing how bad. I understand he's in the run and shoot, right? They don't like to commit too much to the run, but damn it, St. Louis's run defense is the worst. June, you know what? I have his phone number. We're gonna call June. I feel like we gotta call him and say, dude, please run the fucking ball this
Give me
week.
some Lindsay.
Run the ball. Philip Lindsay, my boy from Colorado, 7,500. He's I know he hasn't been here, and Abram Smith has been the best running back in the XFL. But had Philip Lindsay been there all year, you might be able to make the case that he's the best running back in the XFL.
I'm with you. I got Philip Lindsay as well.
You got him too. Okay. J Mark, do you have Philip Lindsay?
I do.
We're like playing a board game. You
Right.
got Philip Lindsay with the lead pipe.
Nope.
Adam. No, there we go.
No,
Well, why
because
not?
unlike you guys, I don't get caught up in shiny names and fancy new players. They see Philip Lindsay, the NFL star. They're like, he's going to be dominant. How'd that work for Martavis Bryant? He's been crap. So give me Rod Smith.
Yeah, what you meant to say is you spent $14,000 on Danucci, so you couldn't afford it.
No, I spent $6,200 on Rod Smith, who had 50 yards in his last game, has gone over 50 yards 3 times this year.
Yeah,
also active in the receiving game. Has had 3+ receptions 3 times this year, 20+ yards, getting touchdowns, gets in. Give me Rod Smith, especially with Jalen McClendon. Gonna needing to do some dump offs and check downs since his receivers are back but not fully healthy.
I like Rod Smith.
All right, well, look, let's get to top priced wideout. You guys know what I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
I roster this guy every time, but last week, Ja'Cory Pearson's back on the team, baby.
Yeah.
All right, this guy's my guy. I love the slot when it comes to a June Jones offense. You know what? I need the SGP soundboard, the slot. Yeah, I mean, honestly, they look how many targets you pull up, like the XFL stats. He has like almost quadruple the targets of almost anybody in the league. I feel like a lot of other starting wideouts. Ja'Cory Pearson, $11,100. But look, you know what you're getting. You're getting the targets. He might not have as good as weeks as he's been having. But once again, and I like Adam's point of the fact that they know they got to score. Ja'Cory Pearson's their guy.
Yes.
Do you have him on your team?
I do not, but I might if once Latimer gets on the injury list for 4 minutes before kickoff. But
he's on the injury list now, CJ. I told you he was on the injury list.
I know.
You don't believe me, CJ? You don't.
I believe your information. I believe your information. I just don't believe the XFL's information.
Cody Latimer, DNP Tuesday and Wednesday.
But a DNP. All right. I was search around, but I went with
DNP
Burnett
with a knee though. It's not like it's a hamstring or something.
It's not like it's not like
he
doesn't have baby mom issues or anything like that. It's not like he has his things during the week, like he had like shit to do, which sometimes that happens in the XFL. All right, well, maybe I'll do an audible for that. But let's get Deontay Burnett as my top wideout, 9,700. Just because Vegas, you even called a Houston get right game versus Las Vegas' awful defense. He's obviously their alpha. That's all they throw to, especially with Kirkland out. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Top price wideout from CJ Sullivan. J Mark, who's your top price wideout?
I went with Lucky Jackson. He's shown up several different games there. You know, week 6 over 20. He had 27 points in week 7, 22. He's kind of the go-to receiver there. And he makes good plays. He makes a lot of big plays. So yeah, give me Lucky Jackson.
Yeah. How much was he?
He's not that much.
8,400.
Yeah, he's not that
8,400. Well, why I find that interesting is because getting to our second now, if I go price wise, actually this wouldn't be relevant, but since we're on Lucky Jackson and the DC defenders, I see Chris Blair at 5,900. This guy's been balling out of his mind lately. I jumped in on that. He's not my second highest price wideout because I thought his value is off. Am I crazy that his value is off? He should be at like 8K.
No, right? Yeah, absolutely. And as J Mark says, they don't care about XFL. That's why these numbers are off sometimes because they don't.
Chris Blair is a huge value right there.
Yes.
You know, he's a guy who's gone over 100 yards in each of his last 2 games. Just absolutely explosive in my lineup as well, as is Ja'Cory Pearson. Thanks, Colby. Just doing a great job including me there.
There we go. I mean, I look at the targets that Pearson's got. Pearson has 70 targets.
Right.
70 targets. I mean, to give you an idea, Blair has 34, and he's Blair's the third leading receiver in the league. So, but Blair's certainly been, playing much better as the season's prolonged. I think you got to roster him. See, did you have him?
I do not. I do. Wow. My value is Fred Brown. You love the Browns. 3,700.
3,700 going with Fred Brown.
Yeah, just go. He's been coming on lately, and he has the only kickoff return for a touchdown. Don't forget.
Yeah, he's got 151 yards on the season coming on. J Mark, who is your? Do you have Blair who is your second highest price wideout? I guess
I do not have Blair. My second highest priced wideout, Juwan Green. It's part of grabbing some of that Seattle offense. That's the guy that I could afford, but he had a big game last week. I'm a little worried that now there will be that natural regression, but he's still getting involved. All those wide receivers still get involved and can blow up at any time. So Juwan Green only 6,100. So I like that price.
And he's got 5 touchdowns. I mean, Pearson only has 2. Now Pearson does have some 2-point conversions, or 3-point conversions, whatever. But Green definitely has been doing it with 5 touchdowns on the season. I believe that's good for second best in the XFL receiving wise. As far as my next guy, so I
also have Juwan Green in there. Thanks.
Oh,
Colby.
you do?
You're doing a great job hosting right now, bringing in, getting everybody involved, losing track. It's great.
Well, no. I thought because you said you had Blair.
I did. But I had Green as my second highest.
Okay.
So just to piggyback there,
my bad.
definitely been involved, and you got to play 2 Dragons receivers every week to be competitive.
Right.
Yeah.
Also doing a great job of being a humble guest, complaining that he couldn't get his.
Yeah, I mean, Colby needs reminders throughout the day,
or scolding.
That is not true. We got a 5-star review that said Colby runs a tight ship.
Yeah, runs a tight ship.
Very tight ship.
What I didn't say was that ship is the Titanic.
You almost caught the XFL Gambling Podcast on the college football experience. That's such a tight ship.
It was a little too well run as it went down there. I need more of a disaster.
I like the Titanic that was out in the cold weather. Right? Wasn't it one of these domes, going around?
Little bird dodging.
Yeah, so I've got I got Sal Cannella as my next guy, 6,600. Nice. I don't know why I'm rostering. I think this offense is going to be better. We know the pass defense for DC has been lackluster of late. I hate taking Arlington offensive players, but I feel like he was my best value as my last roster spot, essentially. So I went with Sal Cannella. Who's your next guy up? CJ?
My highest receiver, real quick on my Fred Brown, by the way, for 3,700. He had 6 targets last week, and they're going against Orlando's defense. So
yeah, I like that. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of
high
sense.
receiver. I just took out Latimer. New breaking information that we have that he had a knee injury, and I replaced it with Blake Jackson if I want to get in some of that Seattle
I like it.
offense. Same price, 9,000.
Everybody
eats with the Danucci, and he's a nice little value. If you want to go underneath the Pearson, go to Blake Jackson. He'll get double-digit targets, just like all those Seattle receivers.
J Mark, next up.
Yeah, my first flex spot, I got Abram Smith. Just because I had enough capital that's like, why not grab him? He's the best running back in the league. Even if they scale him back some, he's still going to get touches. 10,600. So yeah, I threw Abram Smith in there.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
Adam, next up with your flex.
Flex, I went with Gary Jennings. Just been a guy, touchdown machine, touchdowns each of the last 3 weeks. I like him in what's going to be a shootout there in St. Louis. Plus, the price is right at 3,500 after, mortgaging my house to get Ben DiNucci and Ja'Cour Pearson stack into the lineup.
Like it. All right, back to myself, my final guy here. So I went with I thought maybe Abram Smith would get less touches, so I'm gonna load up on Raquel Armstead. I know Arlington's run defense is good, but I feel like I just feel like they're gonna get yardage. DC somehow, some way. Screen game. Armstead had a catching touchdown. What was it, last week? So at 4,400, I loaded up on the former Temple Al. How about yourself on the final flex?
Final flex, I went with I don't like to have too many Brahmas, but I do, and I went Jacques Patrick, my favorite. Earl Campbell 2.0, CTE be damned, lead with the head. Knock you over, and especially being the only back they have left there in a must-win game, I think they'll lean towards Patrick.
I almost played him.
Versus Orlando's defense, yeah. I think we're definitely just gives them a steady diet of
makes
Patrick.
A lot of sense.
Yeah. And he's been doing a lot in the pass game too, by the way.
Yeah.
Shockingly.
J Mark, your second flex.
Yeah, this guy last week finally looked like I kind of thought he was going to look all year. I'm even more confident hearing that Cody Latimer might be out. So give me Eli Rogers. It's only 5,300.
That's my guy.
And yeah, he's still a playmaker. So
I kind of like it. Kind of
huge
like
game last
playmaker
week.
Though, is he?
He was last week.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh. Adam, what are you doing here?
I got, like I said earlier, I got you on Green and Chris Blair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry. Defensively,
Okay,
what are we doing
now
here?
we're going to them too many times. Now we're using too many of his players. After complaints, now we got to do a little squeaky tire situation.
Much like Eli Rogers. Just don't. The Guardians keep going to him too many times. They need to go to him last.
Defensively, look, I know I just took Sal Cannella and he's part of the Arlington offense. I still think their offense sucks, and I think Greg Williams will force Luis Perez into a couple turnovers. Give me the defenders and my boy Greg Williams. Williams.
Okay.
What are you doing defensively?
Well, I like in Drama's take on it. If Danucci, did everybody eats, it's never bad to go against Danucci to get a St. Louis defense. I just don't like St. Louis defense enough for that, and I had value with this defense last week. I'm going value with them again. I think at 3,800 Orlando's Guardians, not a great defense, but they're going against San Antonio. They had 11 last week versus Arlington. They had 11 last week versus Arlington.
Yeah.
And Arlington had a better offense, and they're going versus the worst offense in the league. Give me Arlington.
Makes a lot of sense.
What? I dare you to put points on them, San Antonio.
Second worst offense in the league. The Arlington Renegades.
That's the old Arlington. That's not the
Perez
Perez
are worse
Arlington.
on a points per game basis.
Well, that's before they got Perez, our guy.
What are you doing, J Mark, on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, so for the first time all year, which is probably not a good sign, I could only afford one defense. And that's the last defense, the Vegas Vipers against the Roughnecks. Don't feel good about it, but it's all I could afford. Usually I throw my defense in first and then kind of build my lineup. I said defense be damned. Let's just see what's left. And I could afford the Vipers, and it used all of my draft capital. First time I've done that all year, which probably means the lineup will fail, but we'll see.
Adam, what are you doing defensively? Did you have money, or were you like J Mark?
I had plenty of money left over. Can I buy some points in this? Is that allowed? But I went with the Brahmas defense. I think that they've just been so consistent. They've held opponents. Those have been ugly games in the Alamo Dome. You hope that the fans show up. The fans in San Antonio really have been robbed this year. So let's see a defensive performance, a defensive gem from the Brahmas defense here against against an Orlando team that turns the ball over a ton.
There we go.
Fading Stormity Normandy.
Not fading him. He's going to throw some picks. He's going to throw some picks.
Fade Stormity Normandy at your own risk. He's playing to clear his Google history. I'll tell you that.
I do buy into that. I do buy into that. Folks, we buy into you subscribing to us. Subscribe to the I almost said the College Football Experience, the XFL Gambling Podcast. Look, and also the USFL Gambling Podcast. Let's go. But yes, I mean, we'll be back. We're going to do a reaction show, I think Sunday night. So make sure you tune into that. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, youtube.com, the XFL Gambling Podcast. Also, Spotify, iTunes. Please hop on over there. Give us a 5-star review. We appreciate each fan going over there and doing that. And look, make sure you check out the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. CJ Sullivan hosts that. Give him a follow on Twitter.
The numbers
CJ
are brutal.
Sullivan,
Get in there. Follow. Do something. Review it.
Rome wasn't built overnight, baby.
I know. Just started.
All right.
We're just going out the gates.
Make sure you check out J Mark. He hosts the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, and he is a rewards member at the Econo Lodge there. I keep hammering that joke. But where are you staying right now? Where are you at right now?
He's suffering in Nebraska.
Good internet.
He can't stand being in Nebraska and their awful soil.
He's up in Hawkeye country right there.
My skin is tingling.
Cyclones country.
What's the name of this place? The Art Deco Hotel.
Look at you.
The Deco.
Wow.
Sophisticated J Mark. Go listen to him and his wife. J Mark,
Yes.
you had a big time guest on. Tell the world about it.
Yeah. Yesterday we had Sam Acho, former NFL linebacker, current ESPN sports analyst. It was a lot of fun. Great guy
He's
to talk
calling XFL games. He's calling a lot of XFL games. Yeah.
Jesus, why don't you throw him on this show? What the fuck, J Mark? We got to listen to Adam Moranis, who could have Sam Acho in here.
think he was a little hesitant on the gambling part of it. But I did.
Fair enough.
I did tell him, like, anytime if you want to hop on, we don't have to talk gambling. Come on, So
hesitant on the gambling. XFL puts the goddamn spread on the ticker.
They do.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but go check out that episode. Fantastic work with the Old Fashioned Football Podcast.
Well done.
Also, make sure you check out Adam Pelletier. He's on Twitter at Adam Pelletier. That's Pelletier. Appreciate you coming on the show, Adam. And Adam's doing a ton of work for us behind the scenes. SGPN. So get the SGPN app, free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. Adam, anything else you want to plug?
If you're playing USFL Fantasy, don't forget to subscribe to the Alt Fantasy Sports podcast.
Yes.
Alt Fantasy Sports, of course, your home for spring fantasy football. And next weekend, we're gonna have a contest going, hybrid XFL USFL slate. So you'll be able to build a roster and lineup with players from both leagues.
Ooh, I like that.
Ooh, I like that.
Prizes will be available.
Oh, beautiful work there. All right, folks. Well, look, get the SGPN app as we alluded to, and also come talk extreme football with us in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Until Sunday night on the reaction show, this is the XFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.
X marks the spot. X marks the crossroads. Two straight lines crossing over in the middle. That's the letter you must see to find the treasure.